What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. I think a lot of the reason I like to talk today to make sense of things has to do with my driving jobs, where I sat in the car for hours a day with myself, which meant I could only do a few things while I was working. Spend time with myself, listen to music, podcast, or some audiobook, or talk on the phone or with the person in the car with me, if there happens to be one. A lot of my interest in the inner workings of my mind comes from the many years of spending time with myself in window time, just driving and thinking and talking and listening. On one such drive, my first manager, when I was like 19 or 20, taught me the word emuna. I might be saying it wrong, in Hebrew, which roughly translates to the idea of faith, but active faith, faith with action. Along with this idea of faith, he taught me a concept that deeply relies on faith to bring us forward in life, called soul correction. There's also a Hebrew word for that, but I won't try to pronounce it. Now, we can have a debate about what the soul is. JP says, the soul is that which is akin to the divine. It is the closest thing to divinity. It is something that is made in the image of God. But still in that image, each individual soul has its own unique pattern, its own unlived desires that it is trying to carry out. And through that, the divine then expands and learns as it is most interested and considers most the uniqueness of life unfolding for the individual soul. It expands through you. I'm going to borrow a lot of exact words from the most recent episode from Living Myth by Michael Meade, which relates very deeply to my topic today. And if I was you, I would go listen to it, because I will not do it poetic justice. He tells a story about a rabbi named Zusha, who lived as a true teacher in every sense of a religious life. On his deathbed, surrounded by his students, he left us with this lesson, left them with a lesson. His students asked him how it felt to be at the door of death. And in an honest response, he said he was fearful to face God. I'm afraid of God's final justice, he said. I fear that in the eyes of God, I will be found insufficient and judged harshly. His students, who were shocked, tried to reassure their teacher that he was an exceptional religious leader and taught them generously and guided them wisely. Rabbi, they said, you are a pure and righteous man. You have shown the leadership of Abraham. You have demonstrated the courage of Jacob, the vision of Moses, and the moral fortitude of the greatest prophets. What do you have to fear in facing God? In his last breaths, the rabbi replied, I am not afraid that God will ask me, Zusha, why were you not more like Abraham? Why were you not more like Moses? For I can answer honestly that I did not have the God-given abilities of Abraham or the talents of Moses. But if God asks me, Zusha, why were you not more like Zusha? For that I have no answer at all. In facing his end, he leaves us with the lesson of what the divine was interested in all along. While you had the chance to live, did you become your true self? Did you learn the nature of your gifts and the purpose of them? Have you lived the life that was given to you? Or did you substitute some other model or someone else's map? At the end of our life, it will be how much of ourselves, of our uniqueness, of our own soul's calling that we actually lived is what will come into question. And so when we ask what is the meaning of life and trying to imagine some general answer, the finer point is within the question. Since each life is specific and designed to be so, the better question is, what is the meaning of my life? Each one of us have to and must answer for the life that we have actually lived. And instead of waiting for the end for that question to come up, our soul is trying to direct us to uncover it while there is still time. Each life is a pilgrimage intended to arrive at the center of the pilgrim's soul. The soul itself seeks to be found, to unfold a story from within it. Was the dream embedded in the soul actually brought to life? Was the inner purpose discovered? Was the genius expressed? What did you do with the fine thread of imagination that destiny faded to your soul? Did you awaken the story from within? And if not, it is said that the soul returns to the common world again, attached to the aspects of its original design that went unlived, seeking for it to be lived. In my own life, I'm afraid of that very question. In fact, I'm haunted by it daily as I have seemingly resigned to the calling. I have a sign hanging on my closet right in front of my bed where I sit after I shower as my hair dries in a wrapped towel. It's one of those rare moments of silence that I have in my day. And in front of me is this sign that I'm confronted with daily. It says, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I have not a single bit of talent left and could say, I used everything you gave me." There have been times in my life I was very happy to see this sign every day because I was living. And when I am not living, it is a sharp reminder of the inevitable question that I will be asked. Did you make everything of yourself that I created you to be, that I had imagined for you? Did you also imagine it for yourself? And so in line with that, there are many times in my life where what I am not doing is thrust upon me, and what I am doing that is bad for me finds a way to abruptly end, disruptively, against my will. Everything I pray for to not happen ends up happening, almost as if my soul calls it forth because it knows it's a void and a weakness. What I call difficulty, what feels like a burden, might actually be liberating my soul from its pending assignments that it was here to go through. It's like the soul has autocorrection, and anytime I'm off the path, or denying it or defying it, it dots my I's and crosses my T's for me. Something knows that I need the thing that I'm going through to bring me closer to the intended design, or as a calling for me to use my imagination and creativity to make it so. I've hesitated to talk about this topic for a long time because there's so much I want to say. I can give you 100 examples of how this has played out in my life. But without sharing the details of all of those, I can share that at the least, all these experiences have left me with the overwhelming feeling of peace. Peace knowing that any difficulty I am going through, that you are going through, any shifts of the wind, they're all somehow in service to unfolding me into me. Even though sometimes it stings, sometimes it downright hurts, I'm grateful for the guidance. I love you, family. Stay true always. I see you on the next show.